What's the deal, my people? You know who it is. I'm back at you. Another one. This is Don Tony Teflon. We are talking here about the pink letter. Now, people may know my channel for, you've been around for a little while. You know that I've been around for a little while. You know that I have covered this topic many times, but I have never covered almost every theory that people have for this pink letter. I've never covered that. I've only given my opinion on what I thought or who I thought wrote the pink letter. I never gave the theory of other people's that they put out there in the comment section like that. So this is what we're going to do this week. We're going to look at other people, who other people think wrote the pink letter. Obviously, we will come back and I will tell you exactly who I feel wrote this damn pink letter. But we shall see in the end. Not who's right, but don't want it. In the end, can't say that. 1 second. Oh, let me take this. I'm sorry. All right, I'm sorry about that. All right, so we're gonna go through everybody's theory. Make sure you put that thumbs up for your boy so people can find this letter. This is something I would normally do on a Wednesday, but I know Joe the Magician is on vacation, so I figured I will come here and say what and fill the job. Now, I'm not saying I'm Joe the Magician, or I could do the same job that he does, but I figured I would fill the void for people who are used to having some Song of Ice and Fire content at this time in the day. So again, make sure you hit that thumbs up for your boy. We're going to be talking about the pink letter, and we're going to try to figure out exactly who it is. We'll go through all the theories, and then in the end, we'll try to figure this out. All right, let's go. All right, we are here live to do the pink letter theory, and I cannot wait to get to this. As I said before, I truly enjoy the pink letter, and no, I will not be keeping this screen thing on at all. We will be taking it off right in 1 second, and we'll take that off and go to our normal display. All right, so we're gonna give shout outs to people real quick. So that not stalling or anything like that. But we'll give some shout outs to people like that. Let me show a little camera back. All right, you know what it is. You know who it is. Don Tony Teflon. I'm back at you. What up to everyone who's here rocking with me? We're gonna talk about the pink letter, baby. We're gonna get this thing popping, and we're gonna try to figure out exactly who wrote this. Let's see. We don't have a lot of people here right now, but maybe we'll get more people in later. All right, we got AK47, AK Watch is in the building rocking with us right now. Georgie Jedi is in the building rocking with us. Miss Duncan the Tall is in here. Ray Sully is in the building rocking with us. Oasis Rule is in here. The real Rick is in here. Is in his place right now, rocking with us right now. Georgie Jedi is in here rocking with us right now. Again, hit that thumbs up for your boy if you can. Peter Griffith is in here. I did put Miss Duncan the Tall. If not, let me show her some love right now that she's in here. Lady Austin is in the building right now, rocking with us. Mark B is in the building, rocking with us. And that is not all, but I cannot go. Unraveling the Case is in the building, rocking with us right now, doing a what up to you. Or the Moonlight is in here rocking with us. All right, let that is what it is. Thank you. People like a snazzy sweater. It is a sweater, actually. It's a summer sweater. Let's full screen it real quick for you. It is a summer sweater. The Don, what the Don do. I'll be playing around, playing no games, man. When it comes to these things like that, I don't be playing no games like that. But no, it's a summer sweater, and it's very light. It's very, very airy, and so I appreciate the compliment and everything else like that, and and all that good stuff. So I truly appreciate it. It's not good. So I love spending time with my Teflon fan. Thanks for always being amazing, Tony. Well, thank you for always rocking with me and supporting. I truly appreciate it. Just Britt says, I like the contrasting colors together. You know, a lot of men are afraid to wear colors. Don is not afraid to wear colors, right? And I tell men all the time that put some colors on. Don't be afraid of the colors. Put some colors on and stuff. But I appreciate all the love that you are showing me, whether it's real or not. As always, Thug Mug is in hand right now. Unraveling cases saying summer cologne and summer sweaters. Of course, I have summer colognes. I have fall colognes, and I have winter colognes, and I have summer colognes too. I don't wear the same cologne all year round. That's not the way it's supposed to be. That's just the way I go. Tony, your got light is off. Maybe Mayday. International sign of distress. Oops, sorry about that. Let's put it on. Oh, let's flip it. Oh, what's going on? There we go. Game of Thrones sign is in effect now. Thank you for telling me that. We are talking Game of Thrones. All right, we're gonna get right into this situation. We're gonna get right into this situation right now, and talk about this pink letter. All right. So as we know, the pink letter is also known as the bastard letter. It is the letter that Ramsey Bolton. We'll call him Bolton. Call him Snow. Let's say Snow. Right. Ramsey Snow supposedly sends to Jon Snow while he's up at the wall demanding a couple of things. Now, in the show, it's two different things that happen. In the books, we know that this is the letter that gets Jon Snow killed, because Jon Snow, after reading this letter, tries to rally the wildlings to go down and march on Winterfell, and that gives the Night's Watchman reason to kill him. In the show, they had Jon Snow get killed, get resurrected, and then he received the letter from Ramsey. Now, people will say that since Ramsey was the one who wrote the letter, wrote the letter because we've seen them do that in the show. If Ramsey didn't write it, they wouldn't have put that in the show. But they did show that in the show, Ramsey was the one that wrote it in the show. So they're saying, hey, if Ramsey wrote it in the show, it would have been that. If it was somebody else in the show, they would have done that. But I will say this to those people who say those things, that they had already killed off Mance Rayder. So it's a popular theory that Mance Rayder wrote the letter. So if Mance Rayder had wrote it, they already killed his character off. There would be no way for them to do that. They had already killed off Stannis Baratheon. So if Stannis Baratheon wrote the pink letter, there'd be no way to do that. So that would be my argument to those who say that, if it would have already been in the show if that's the way they went down. These are show writers who clearly did that already. All right, so let's go. Let's go right into there we go. Let's go right into first the argument of the pink letter. Let's first look at Ramsey. Why people believe Ramsey wrote the letter. Now, a lot of people think he did and everything else. And let's read exactly. We're taking this reading right here from Reddit. Real quick, I'll give the name of the person who wrote this out in Reddit in a second, but let's bring up what it says about Ramsey. It says, in the moment after the end of the chapter where Theon and Jane escape, 2 or 3 spearwives have been killed or captured. There are still a few more, but given how quickly things happen, the one pretending to be Jane is in real trouble. Mance is also in trouble as well. While it is possible he snuck off in the confusion, as soon as the spearwives are identified as his daughters, the entire castle will be looking for him. As much as people like to make Stannis out to be Mance out to be a superhero, he is in fact a mortal man trapped by stone walls, filled with thousands of men who are looking for him. The simplest answer to the question of what happened to him is obviously that he was captured along with any remaining spearwives. We can be reasonably sure that the Freys and the Mandalays will continue to exit the castle, especially since we know the Freys fell into the pits dug by the Moors and his green boys. While Theon is sure that Ramsey will be coming after them now, that he and Jane escaped, I also think we can conclude that he would want to be involved into getting the info from Mance. After all, Ramsey is already pissed and definitely loves torture. While people often try to say that the Boltons would not know if they got the truth or that Mance wouldn't talk, those are pretty ridiculous arguments. With more than one hostage, meaning only one spear wife needed, he can simply compare the stories. When they match, you have the truth. Plus, no one is going to identify themselves as Mance Rayder to a Bolton unless they are shit out of luck and shit out of lies also. So now it's possession of the knowledge containing in the letter that Theon and Jane headed to Stannis. Ramsey heads off behind the Mandalay and Phrase to find his bride and Reek. Pretty much everyone agrees on some version of the night lamp theory where the Phrase drown and Stannis wins. This then passes the Karstark's heads off his own with the sword to send some of the mountain clans disguised as Karstark men into Winterfell along with the Mandalays. So now, in possession of knowledge containing the letter, Theon and Jane are headed to. Oh, I'm sure that while Mance would surely want to send men after Jane and Theon, he cannot send the entire force. They have supplied the issue. They are surely Mandalay's knights or Karstarks. Whoever will tell Ramsey what he needs to know. So Ramsey heads back to Winterfell, thinking he is victorious in regards to Stannis, but knowing that there's a serious threat in the form of Theon and Jon, and they will know soon. Ramsey, being hot-headed for sure, would want to write this letter and send this letter to Jon. First of all, you need the 3-to-1 rule. 3 times as many men attacking as defending than the minimum. 5-to-1 is more responsible. That means the Boltons would have to march some 2K troops 600 to 700 miles through a blizzard to get to Castle Black to do the deed. Can they spare those supplies or men? I don't know. They just lost the Phrase and now barely outnumbered. Would they really want their force in half and indeed outnumbered? Would they send them home? Would they send everyone home so they weren't within the walls? Would they lose track of them? The food in the castle was largely the Mandalays to begin with. All right, so that is the argument for Ramsey. And I guess what they're trying to say, and this was by, let's give his name, a Redditor, Aragon Killer number 2. All right, let's give props. He's the one who put that out there for us. All right, so I would guess that I would guess that when people say that it is Ramsey, it's the obvious choice. Hey, Ramsey's the one, as I said before, and I wrote it in the show. So why wouldn't it be Ramsey be the one who did it? It would seem, it's something that Ramsey would do. But I think there's more proof that shows that Ramsey didn't write the letter. So I think that would it be a mystery? And would George have made it so mysterious if it was just Ramsey who wrote it? I don't think so. I don't think he would have left these breadcrumbs pointing to other people if at all it was just Ramsey who wrote the pink letter. Also, we know that Ramsey has a way of leaving things in letters, like pieces of skin. You would think that if he had Mance Rayder captive, not saying he doesn't, but if he wrote the letter and had him captive, that he would have filleted some of his skin off him and sent it in the letter. Now, we must understand that the letter also has a smear of wax. It's not a full button for pendant for the Boltons. It's a smear of pink wax. George put that in there specifically to let you know that if it was sent by Ramsey or Ruth, they would have the signia ring, and they would have pushed it in the wax, and it wouldn't have been smeared. It would have just been a regular piece. For those reasons, and there's a couple of more I can go into, I would have to really rule out 100% that Ramsey wrote this letter. I know that that's what they want you to believe and everything, and a lot of it I will tie into exactly what was in the letter. When you read the letter itself and the way that it says these things in it, one line that you get from this letter is I want the wildling princess. You have to believe that Ramsey got all this information that he's saying in this letter from a captured Mance Rayder, right? So there would be no reason Mance would never refer to Val as a wildling princess. In fact, he doesn't refer to her as a wildling princess. It is pointed out in Two Mance that by Jon Snow that to Stannis that Val is no princess. They don't have kings or queens beyond the wall. That she is not a princess at all. So why would now all of a sudden he refer to a Mance under torture and duress as a wildling princess? Why would he say that if that were the case? Why would he say, oh, up there is the wildling princess is up there, and Stannis is Melisandre, and all these other people are up there, right? Why would he say this all of a sudden? And he wouldn't even call her wildling. Now, you could say that he put the wildling thing in there himself. One second. That he put the wildling thing in there himself because that he put the wildling thing in there himself because he wanted to, and and Mance didn't have to say that, but but the princess part, he would not have known to call her a princess at all unless that was given to him. And there's no way that Mance would have ever gave him told him that Val was a princess. For that reason, I have to say that it's not Ramsey. Does anybody in the chat want to make the case for Ramsey Bolton? If anyone has any information they would like to say, they think that Ramsey wrote it, please put it in there in the chat right now that you think that Ramsey wrote it, and I will listen to any argument you have that says Ramsey wrote the letter. Would it wrap things up? Everything I would think, you know what I mean? So right now, from we looking in the chat right now, I don't see one person in here willing to make the case for Ramsey Bolton. Not one person. Oh, we got Ramsey is not the father. I gotta agree. I have to truly agree. I just don't think the man wrote the letter. I just don't see it at all being Ramsey at all. I mean, I could see it being other people, but there's no way I could see it being Ramsey at all. So the real Rick says, I think the showrunners just took the obvious and least complicated route based on where the books led. And I agree that they did that, but also the players that other people would have done were killed off. So they would have to take that route. There was no one else. He couldn't have put Mance wrote the letter because he killed Mance off. And unless they were going to do the whole Lord of Bones situation with Mance. And so they didn't do that with Mance. So they killed him off straight up. So there's no way they could have put Mance in there. Tony, could Catelyn have written the letter? I think Catelyn's dead, so so no, I don't believe that Catelyn could have wrote the letter. But I think that's funny. I do think it's funny. So all right, so I think that we have come to the conclusion here on Teflon TV with everybody in the chat, and we try. And I will say this too. I told anyone on Twitter that if they wanted to come on here with the Don Tony Teflon and make their case for whoever they thought wrote the letter, I would allow them to make their case. I like to say no one took me up on the offer. Maybe people just don't want to rock with me. That's a good possibility. or maybe people just don't want to make that case or anything else like that. So we're talking books here. This is the books in dealing with Robin Riddle. This is definitely the books. We're not dealing with the show, because the show, we know that the show was, this is false pretense. All right, we're gonna go into the next one. Someone saying Littlefinger wrote it. We'll go into Littlefinger. We'll do Littlefinger. Could I don't know the exact theory that Littlefinger wrote it, but we can go into Littlefinger if you want. All right, let's go into a theory that was, I don't know if he made it up or not. It's good possibility he did make it up, and that's Preston Jacobs. I'm sure we all know Preston Jacobs. I'm sure he's been around for a very long time, almost as long as me. He's been around for a very long time, and this is one of his more popular theories when he first came out, was that Mance Rayder wrote the pink letter. I think that he did a very good video on it. I don't have his video points that he made in it and everything else. We got Elamar's in the building rocking with us right now. She said, I'm listening and driving. I can't chat, but saying hi to all. So hello to Elamar. Thank you for stopping by and rocking with us for as long as you can. We truly do appreciate you being here and everything else. All right. So, as I was saying, that Ramsey, he made a very popular opinion on Ramsey. He made a very compelling argument about Ramsey. We're going to go into it. I don't know if it's exactly all of his points. Again, I'm going to take this from a Reddit post and everything else. I'm going to take this from a Reddit post and everything else, and see how they perceive why Ramsey would be someone who wrote this letter. All right, let's go into Ramsey Snow, into this, and how he could have written the pink letter. Let's go. All right. I mean Mance. I'm sorry, Mance. Mance Rayder. I'm saying Ramsey. It's Mance Rayder. Why Mance did it. All right, let's go through this post. This post was put up by Heads Night, I guess it says, and we'll go through it. We'll see what it says, and see if we can go through and say that this man wrote the letter. All right. It says, I believe the text supports Mance writing the pink letter. And this was put up in 2000 January, actually put up on my birthday, January 8th, 2017. I wasn't born 2017, but January 8th is my birthday. All right. Here I will discuss the evidence. I do not claim to know Mance's motivations or all the details. I believe at this point, George R. Martin hasn't given us enough to know everything. And I do want to say that is a huge thing. We're not given everything. So every theory that's put out is going to be able to have a hole in it. I mean, that's why it's called a theory, because there are holes in these things. It's always going to be but if it's a gaping hole, then it's a problem. If it's a minor hole, it could be something that George just hasn't told us yet to fill in that. All right. So we'll always keep that in thoughts when we're reading these series. So I don't know if this, as I said, I believe that Preston made this up. I'm not sure 100%, but I know for a fact that he is the one who popularized this theory in the fandom. All right. First, he says, let's discuss why it's not Ramsey. I think that we did a little bit, but let's go through his points. No seal on only a smear wax, no skin, no evidence. It's written in blood. 2, threats in the letter do not match his MO, i.e. heads on spikes. 3, language used in a letter is not consistent to any one person, suggesting whoever wrote it was intentionally trying to sound like Ramsey. 4, Jon is now coming to Winterfell with an army of wildlings to kill Ramsey. It's hard to view this as a positive result for Ramsey if he was the author. And 5, the entire letter parallels Stannis burning a Mance at the wall. Ramsey has no reason to know this happened to reflect that. All right. So let's go into the letter itself. The letter says, "Bastard, your false king is dead, bastard. He and his host were smashed in 7 days of battle. I have his magic sword. Tell his red whore. Your false king's friends are dead, their heads upon the wall of Winterfell. Come and see them, bastard. Your false king lied, and so did you. You told the world you burned the king beyond the wall. Instead, you sent him to Winterfell to steal my bride from me. I will have my bride back. If you want Mance Rayder back, come and get him. I have him in a cage for all the north to see. Proof of your lies. The cage is cold, but I have made him a warm cloak from the skins of the 6 whores who came with him to Winterfell. I want my bride back. I want the false king's queen. I want his daughter and his red witch. I want the wildling princess. I want his little prince, the wildling babe. I want my reek. Send them to me, bastard, and I will not trouble you or your black crows. Keep them from me, and I will cut out your bastard's heart and eat it. Ramsey Bolton, true-born lord of Winterfell." All right, so let's go into what he's saying. He says, false king. When you do the search for false king, you find that it really is not used often. Every time it is, it's either spoken by Stannis, Mel, or spoken about Stannis. This is a term Mel uses when burning Mance at the wall again, and she is speaking with Jon Snow before he leaves for the Arya rescue mission. The entire part mirrors Stannis burning Mance at the wall. I highly recommend reading the exploratory epilogue, section 7 by Bran for a more depth comparison of Mance burning at the wall. Mance is now turning the story around while keeping all the same elements, minus the horn, which may be significant. Stannis told everyone at the wall Mance was dead. Now Mance is telling everyone at the wall that Stannis is dead, using the same false king moniker. Both cases are a lie, and instead are acts of manipulation. This is pretty poetic of author George R.R. Martin. I think Mance would be the only one who would be poetic enough to do this and also have the motivation. It's kind of like you called me a false king and told everyone I was dead. Now I'm going to do the same thing to you and your situation. All right. Next, he says, the author uses the word bastard. When Mance accepts Jon as a Night's Watch deserter, the reason Jon gives him for deserting is this bastard status. Mance knows this is a sore spot for Jon and is reminding him of his hopes it will encourage him to desert and travel to Winterfell. And you, Jon Snow, you say you were at Winterfell the night my father feasted King Robert. Then you saw us all. And did you see where I was seated, Mance? He leans forward. Did you see where they put the bastard? We also have some dialogue of Mance speaking to Jon Snow when glamored as Rattleshirt that is very similar to what we just heard. I'll range for you, bastard, Rattleshirt declared. I give you sage counsel or sing you pretty songs as you prefer. I'll even fight for you. Just don't ask me to wear your cloak. And, not me, I'm done with those bloody fools. Rattleshirt tapped on his ruby wrist. Ask your red witch, bastard. Now I will say that right from here, the first one doesn't sound anything like the line that he said at Winterfell. But the second one is a clear indication of Mance calling Jon Snow bastard, without a doubt. All right. Next, red and black. Only 2 colors are mentioned in the letters, red and black. These are Targaryen colors, yes, but also Mance's color. His cloak is black with red from the silk of Ashai. The red mentioned in the letter is Mel's red, which is also red from Ashai. The black is from the night watch's black cloaks, the same black cloak that Mance is. These colors support Mance as the author. I have to disagree with this. I don't think the red refers to, if you want to say that red refers to Mance's colors, I don't think Mance's colors could be considered red. I mean, he had the one red thing is a known fact that made him leave the Night's Watch, but I don't think the red is because Melisandre is red, and just because Mance got his red from Ashai, that all of a sudden this means, because it also means Melisandre because she's from Ashai. I can't buy that one at all. But we'll go on. We'll talk about it. I'll stop. I'll go through it all, and then we'll talk about it after. Use of the word whore. Others have put a lot of analysis into this. I wish I could find some posts. I'm thinking of Ramsey never uses the word whore throughout the books. In fact, it seems he employs quite the opposite tactic. He refers to the horrible, gruesome things that he does while using language and dances and its vulgarity. Instead, Theon seems to be the character that uses the term whore a lot. I have to wonder if the washerwoman Mance got information about Ramsey from Theon by getting it from a secondary source. The info was biased, and Theon and the words he uses. This will explain why he hints of Theon's language in the text when the author is trying to sound like Ramsey. All right. The only name used. The whole letter is a puzzle for the reader to figure out. The puzzle is who wrote me, not what parts of me are true. The proof is the fact that who wrote the pink letter is still one of the biggest mysteries discussed on the forums. No one is still having a what's true discussion. Sure, they exist, but not nearly as much as the threat. Not nearly as much as who wrote it threads. Knowing it's a mystery to figure out who wrote the letter, it's significant that the author only chooses to use name on the letter, and this name is Mance Rayder. He also happens to be one of the prime suspects who wrote the letter. It makes no sense for George R.R. Martin to point out this name if he's not the author. It makes perfect sense from George if it's a wink. I again would counter that, saying that his name is not the only name. I mean, if you want to say full name, Stannis' name is not mentioned on there. But we talk about. I don't think you have to say his name. I think Mance Rayder's name. Well, in fact, I will go through all that when it's all said and done. I keep interrupting because I just want to interrupt. I'm sorry. Let's go. Mance's language. This is from the books right there. He burned the man he had to burn for all the world to see. Mance as Rattleshirt. I have him in a cage for all the North to see. The author of the pink letter. So I guess they're saying that since Mance said for all the world to see, and the author of The Lady said for all the North to see, that gives credence to Mance writing the letter. It's not only the first time Mance has changed the word North, i.e. Dornishman's wife. All right. Ramsey's language overheard by Mance. If Mance is posing as Ramsey, it only makes sense to repeat the threat he heard Ramsey make. And this is what it is. It says, "What man?" Ramsey demanded. "Give me his name. Point him out to me, boy, and I will make you a cloak of his skin." Ramsey says this after the murders in Winterfell, while Mance is in the hall. I have made him a warm, and in the letter it says, "I have made a warm cloak from the skins of the 6 whores he came to Winterfell with." So he's saying that since he said that Mance heard Ramsey say, "I'll skin him and make you a cloak of his skin," that's the reason why he would know to put that in there. All right. The Red Witch. Red witch is hardly ever used in the books. I think it's significant. Mance uses this statement so similar in these two statements. Ask your red witch bastard, Mance as Rattleshirt. And in the letter it says, I want his daughter and his red witch. So we see Mance using the word red witch twice. All right. Mance's language, the saying, as many have pointed out, black crows is used exclusively by the wildlings. And this is and it is used over 12 times in this series and in the letter. Here are all of them that are used. And I don't know if I should go through all 12, but we will go through all. He said, he can call himself king beyond the wall all he likes, but he's just another old black crow who flew down from the shadow tower. Asha. Brave black crow, she mocked. Well, long before he was the king of the free folk, Baal was a great raider. He grit. Lord Brandon has no other children at his behest. The black crows flew forth from the castles in hundreds, but nowhere to be find the old sign for old Baal and his maid. Let him die, insists the Lord of Bones. The black crow is tricksy bird. I trust him not. Rattleshirt. All right, and there are some more. I'm not going to go through more. Let's go through opportunity that is here. I would like to state I do believe Mance's ploy was to bring Rowan and him to the Umbers and make an alliance. I also believe Rowan is Moore's daughter and that Mance and the Umbers are now colluding. For anyone who disagrees, I would suggest first revisiting the chapter in which Stannis gives Rattleshirt and Jon and allows him to stay in the War Council. Mance, as Rattleshirt, hears everything he needs to know that Moors is willing to negotiate and hates the wildlings because they stole his daughter. All right. And is there anything else here that points to Mance? More on motivation. The conclusion. All right. So the conclusion is a large amount of language is specific to Mance, but only using Mance's real name and using the colors red and black. George R. R. Martin is giving us clues who the author is. The fact the entire letter is a reversal of Mance's execution at the wall is a further hint that Mance means to write the letter and stands to benefit the most from the outcome. The theory that Mance wrote the letter is far more supported than any other compelling theory. So says you, sir. All right. So that is the people who believe the argument for Mance Rayder. I think it's a strong argument for Mance Rayder. I do. I think it's a strong argument that Mance could have wrote this letter. I don't think he did, but I understand why many would think. So if people believe that Mance Rayder wrote the letter, please put it in the comment section why you would think that he wrote this letter. Jess says, yep, I think Mance wrote the letter. It's a compelling argument, but a lot of the things that I see here does not support Mance's claim to writing the letter. There's a bunch of things I could point out and everything else. It says a good question from Clinton Williams. Let's see if we can find that question from Clinton Williams and see what he says. Is this it right here? It says if you had it to name who wrote the letter, who would you name? I guess. When we look at it, to me, I'm very glad you have a different theory. The Mance theory is what I was expecting. I just don't see it being Mance when it's all said and done. You have to have opportunity, right? We know what's going on, and we got to understand. We know what's going on when this goes on. They are looking for Mance Rayder. Theon has escaped. They're looking for the Spearwives. They're looking for all of them. I don't know how Mance would have had access to a bird that goes to Winterfell, right? You got to have a crow that can actually make it to Winterfell. You can't just pick any bird and just say, hey, fly to Winterfell and talk to it. It has to be one specifically that's known to go to Winterfell. In this whole confusion, I don't know that he would know where the bird rookery house is and how he would be able to attach this letter, how he would have time to pen this whole letter himself, why all this stuff is going on, and write this letter. That would be my first reason that I would have to see. I just don't see that he would do that. He had the time to do it, or he'd be able to have the means to send the letter out, or I just don't see that that's the case. How or why he would be able to do it. George Jedi said they got wargs. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. If that was the case, then they could have probably just spoken it to him. So when I look at that, I don't see how he would have been able to do it. Also, let's go. Let me look at some of the points this man tried to make, and let's go through them. Maybe I don't want to act like I'm picking them apart or anything else like that. But let's go through it. So they clearly want to point out to you that Mance calls him bastard and Mance says Black Crow. Like they want to point that out to you. They want you to know that Mance Rayder is the one. The wildlings use the word Black Crow, and Mance calls him bastard, called John bastard. But Mance would not refer to Val as wildling princess. Again, this is not a term that Mance would call her. Mance would never say, I want the wildling princess. He would never say that. That's just not his thing. That's not his style to say that. Everyone he knows that's not what it would be. John's got to go. Peace out, John Taylor. Thanks for stopping by. So for that reason, if you're going to point out the fact that he would say that, you also have to point out the fact that he wouldn't say wildling princess, which is clearly in the letter. So I can't see, for that reason, I have to say that I do not believe that he said it, because I just don't, I don't see him saying that. If you want to just go by words and what was said in the words, that would be one of them. What else did he say in here? The use of the word whore. He's saying that Ramsey doesn't use the word whore, but Theon does all the time. Well, I think that points more to Mance not writing it, because he's not around Theon at this time. There is someone who is around Theon, and if you want to use the argument that Theon had something to do with writing the letter, then you would have to lean more towards Stannis, because Stannis would be the one that has Theon captured. So Stannis would be the one who would benefit the most from that situation. If Theon had something to do with penning the letter, it would be that. Also, we can't explain how Mance would get his hands on pink wax. There's no explanation for that, how he got his hands on it. I don't know if there's just pink wax just hanging out a lot of Winterfell. Maybe they have a bunch of pink candles. Maybe they changed all the candle colors in Winterfell to pink ones just for the Boltons. Maybe they did that. I don't know. It's quite possible they did. I'm not saying they didn't, but it would have to be a situation like that if we really look at it. I just don't see him having that. There is other people who do have the connection to have this, and that would be one, mainly Stannis Baratheon. Now, if anyone would like to make the case for Mance, now is its time. Right now, you can make a case for Mance Rayder, or we could talk about why Mance Rayder, why you believe that Mance Rayder has wrote this letter. I would like to know what's the number one thing that makes you think that he wrote. What was it that was said that makes you think that Mance did it? And if you believe that Mance did it, please put in the comment section, and we'll see what the tally is right now. So right now, everyone agrees that Ramsey did not write the letter. I think that when you look at what the letter is intended to do, what is the letter? You have to look at that. The letter is intended for Jon Snow to leave the wall. That's what it's intended to do. Now, How Jon Snow makes it all the way down there in all this snow and everything else, that's a different situation, a different conversation. I don't know how long it would take him to come down there or anything, but it would be not, that was what it should be to do. Now, if you want to say it was to get Jon killed, that's what some people have said. I've seen that it was some people have were there to kill. It was meant just to kill Jon Snow and everything else. But when I really look at it, and I look at this, and I've dealt with this theory for a long time, and I've talked about this theory for a very long time, and I truly don't think it's Mance. I truly don't think that it's Ramsey. There's only one person who wrote this letter in my book. That is the one true king of Westeros. That is Stannis Baratheon. I mean, I've done videos on this. Y'all people know. I'm not going to say I made this theory up because I'm not sure if I did, but I am no doubt the person who popularized this theory. If I didn't get to it first, that Stannis wrote the pink letter. So instead of me just sitting here and telling you exactly why I believe that Stannis Baratheon did this, I will have to tell you. I will just show you exactly why. 100%. I agree. I think that this was written 100% by Stannis Baratheon. All right. This video was made in 2018. Let's go. Oh, wait a second. Let's start that over again. Let's remove that. Let's remove that. That's wrong. Let's remove that. No. Let's get rid of that. Let's go here. Let's go here. Then we have to do that. All right, that works. There we go. Let's get it.
What's the deal, my people? You know this, Don Tony Teflon, and I'm back at you another one, and this one is proof why Stannis Baratheon wrote the pink letter. Your false king is dead, bastard. He and his host were smashed in 7 days of battle. I have his magic sword. Tell his red whore. Your false king's friends are dead, their heads upon the wall of Winterfell. Come and see them, bastard. Your false king lied, and so did you. You told the world you burned the king beyond the wall. Instead, you sent him to Winterfell to steal my bride from me. I will have my bride back. If you want Mance Rayder back, come and get him. I have him in the cage for all the north to see. Proof of your lies. The cage is cold, but I have made him a warm cloak from the skins of the 6 whores who came with him to Winterfell. I want my bride back. I want the false king's queen. I want his daughter and his red witch. I want this wildling princess. I want his little prince, the wildling babe, and I want my reek. Send them to me, bastard, and I will not trouble you or your black crows. Keep them from me, and I will cut out your bastard's heart and eat it. Ramsay Bolton, true-born lord of Winterfell. Now, in order to have a conversation about who wrote the pink letter, we must establish a couple of things. And if we cannot agree on these things, then there is no point of going forward. Number one, what was the intention of the letter? What was the letter meant to do? Now, in the show, Jon Snow gets stabbed, then comes back to life, then gets the letter, then fights Ramsay Bolton for Winterfell. Now, in the books, Jon Snow receives the letter and is about to go fight Ramsay Bolton, and then he gets stabbed, and then he gets killed. So, what we can see, even though the books and the show go about it a different way, they both are getting to the same point. Jon Snow going to fight Ramsay Bolton. So the letter is not meant for Jon Snow to give Ramsay Bolton everything he asked for. It's way too much. There's no way Jon would do that. But it's to get Jon Snow to leave the wall and join the war that's going on for Winterfell. But why would someone have to go through those means to make Jon Snow want to leave the wall? Now, as I said, this letter is extreme, and it's saying extreme things to get Jon Snow to try to leave the wall. So the person who wrote this letter must have had tried to get Jon Snow to leave the wall before and was unsuccessful. So we know it cannot be Ramsay Bolton. Number one, there is no defense from that side of the wall. So Ramsay would have no problem attacking Castle Black. So there would be no need for him to draw Jon out. There was only one person who has tried to get Jon Snow to leave the war multiple times, and he has refused him. And that person is Stannis Baratheon. The king set the cup aside. You could bring the north to me. Your father's bannermen would rally to the son of Eddard Stark. Even Lord Too Fat to sit a horse. White Harbor would give me a ready source of supply and a secure base to which I could retreat at need. It's not too late to amend your folly, Snow. Take a knee and swear that bastard sword to me, and rise as Jon Stark, Lord of Winterfell and Warden of the North. How many times will he make me say it? My sword is sworn to the Night's Watch. Now, in the Storm of Swords, Stannis Baratheon offers to legitimize Jon Snow and make him the Lord of Winterfell. Now, he also has a secondary plan, and that is to marry Jon Snow to Val. Now, Jon considers this offer, but then he says he cannot do it. And the reason why he says he cannot do it is because he will not forsake the old god, which is a condition set by Stannis Baratheon and Melisandre, because obviously they worship the Lord of Light. And Jon Snow cannot do this. And it's a little bit after this that Jon Snow was then elected Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. So we see here Melisandre and Stannis together on this plan. Now, again, in A Dance with Dragons, Stannis tries to get Jon Snow to leave the wall by offering to make him the Lord of Winterfell. But this time, when Jon refuses, he says he can't do it because Winterfell should go to his sister, Sansa Stark. And we see a little bit of this play out in the show. Now, this makes Stannis mad. So Stannis then says he might grant Winterfell to Arnulf Karstark. Again, trying to get Jon Snow to accept his proposal. But Jon Snow refuses this proposal and stays at the war. So, as I've said from the beginning of this video, the person who wrote this letter is trying to get Jon Snow to leave the wall. And I think I provided with you enough proof that shows consistently that Jon Snow has refused Stannis Baratheon offer after offer. And this would be the last attempt Stannis would have to try to get Jon Snow to leave the wall. And as we see in the show, it is successful. So let's move on. Your false king is dead, bastard. He and his host were smashed in 7 days of battle. I have his magic sword. Tell his red whore. Now, what purpose does this first line serve? If you listen to it, it's a message for Melisandre. He and his host were smashed in 7 days of battle. I have his magic sword. Tell his red whore. So this is directly sent for Jon to tell Melisandre that Stannis Baratheon is defeated. Now we know the way George R. R. Martin writes, he doesn't spell everything out for you in the books. You must read in between the lines, i.e., Frey Pie. There is no direct line saying that there is Frey Pie, but we know that there is Frey Pie. So that's the mindset you have to be in when breaking this down. So, if John did tell Melisandre exactly what was said in that letter, what do you think Melisandre would do? I believe she would go and look right in her flames. And in the Dance with Dragons chapter, The Sacrifice, we are told that Stannis Baratheon is staring at this beacon fire for at least 4 days, and he comes down right before they do a sacrifice. So we see Stannis Baratheon here is in a desperate situation, and he could be there looking for advice from Melisandre or to give Melisandre a clue to what's going on. Your false king's friends are dead, their heads upon the walls of Winterfell. Come and see them, bastard. Your false king lied, and so did you. You told the world you burned the king beyond the wall. Instead, you sent him to Winterfell to steal my bride for me. Your false king's friends are dead. Now, that line says a whole lot because we know the false king is Stannis Baratheon from the letter. So, the friends that are being dead are the people that went with Mance Rayder. So, if Ramsey did catch Mance and Mance told him this, how could that be? Because we are led to believe that only Jon Snow, Mance Rayder, and Melisandre know about the plan of Mance Rayder to go to Winterfell. So why would Stannis' name be brought up as friendship? Why he is down with the whole plan if he supposedly has nothing to do with it or knows nothing about it? Because we are led to believe that this letter is a direct result from the interrogation that Ramsay Bolton did on Mance Rayder. And Mance Rayder just gave everything up and said, hey, I'm really Mance Rayder, the king beyond the wall. Jon Snow thought he killed me, but he didn't kill me. Melisandre really glamored me, and then he sent me down here to steal Arya Stark because he would have had to tell this whole story. And then Ramsey would also have had to believe all this glamoring and all this story in order for this letter to have been written by Ramsey Bolton, which is a reason why you should know it was not written by Ramsey Bolton. Stannis Baratheon knows how much respect Jon Snow has for Mance Rayder. We've seen this play out in the show when Stannis burns Mance and Jon shoots him in the chest. Now we know that doesn't happen in the books, but we see the respect play out over and over again, how much respect Jon Snow has for Mance. So by Stannis saying these things about Mance, it's going to make Jon Snow know that he has to come and save his friend, because he also says that Mance is still alive, right? He's holding him hostage. So make Jon Snow want to come and save the day. So how would Stannis Baratheon know about this plot with Melisandre, Jon Snow, and Mance? Well, we can go to the Winds of Winter chapter, Theon, for that answer. He tried to tell her all about it, about Reek and the Dreadfort and the keys, how Lord Ramsay never took anything but skin unless you begged for it. He told her how he saved the girl, leaping from the castle wall into the snow. We flew. Let Abel make a song about that. We flew. Then he had to say who Abel was and talked about the washerwomen who weren't truly washerwomen. By then, Theon knew how strange and incoherent all this sounded, yet somehow the words would not stop. So while Thea and Asha are being held captive by Stannis Baratheon in the Crafters' village, Theon spills his guts about everything he knows about Abel and the washerwomen. and they point this out. Now, I think that Stannis Baratheon already knew about Mance Rayder and knew about Rattleshirt prior, but I think this lets him know that Mance Rayder is in trouble and the plan has gone awry. Now, as I said, there is no direct proof in the book that Stannis Baratheon knew about Jon Snow, Melisandre, and Mance Rayder's Rattleshirt plot. But as I said, we must read in between the lines. And I think if we look at what happened between Val, Jon Snow, and Stannis, it's clear to see that Stannis knew about this. Now, in order to unite the wildlings in the north, Stannis' plan is to marry Jon Snow and make him the Lord of Winterfell to Val. But then Val says this: Lord Crow is welcome to steal into my bed any night he dares. Once he's been gelded, keeping those vows will come much easier for him. So we see here that Val is wild. You cannot control her. She's going crazy, right? She's out of the box. She's off the hook. So no way you're going to just be able to run up on her and do whatever you want with her. Now Val begs Stannis Baratheon, begs him to spare Mance Rayder's life. And what does she offer if he does spare it? She offers that she will marry whoever he wants her to. So during the burning of Mance Rayder, who is actually Rattleshirt, we see Val standing there in her sister's clothes, looking regal like a princess, not causing a fuss, not going crazy, not shedding tears, just standing there. Why? This is the person that we just heard would cut off Jon Snow's dick if he jumped into bed with her. So where is the craziness? Unless she cut a deal with Stannis, and she knows that that is not Mance Rayder being burnt, and also Stannis knows. That is why she is wearing the simple bronze dark circlet as a crown, the same thing that the King of Winter would wear, because he has planned, Stannis, to marry her to Jon Snow and make him Lord of Winterfell. So by putting this in the letter, it's trying to convince Jon Snow that Ramsey really did catch Mance Rayder and he gave all that information up to him. But I think Stannis Baratheon gives himself away by saying their heads upon the walls of Winterfell, which we know putting heads on spikes is something that they do in the South, not something that Ramsey would do. He would fillet the body and put it on a cross and send a piece of skin with the letter, letting you know that Ramsey Bolton did it. As Asha Greyjoy found out in the Wayward Bride chapter in A Dance with Dragons, when she is at Deepwood Mott after she escapes from the Iron Island after the King's Moot, and she receives a letter from Barrowtown that Moat Cailin has been taken back by the Bolton. And this message is written in the blood of the Iron Men and has a piece of skin of Theon in it as a warning to her. Now, when Stannis and his Flint men take Asha captive, he takes control of this letter, which has a really big John Hancock of Ramsay Bolton's signature. Also, more proof that he has this letter is that Stannis uses his own blood to sign the letter for the Iron Bank of Bravos. Now, the next chapter is basically just trying to get Jon Snow to go out there and leave the wall by saying all the bad things he did to the ladies that went down there with Mance. But it's the final chapter that we have to focus on that really spells it out that Stannis wrote this letter. I want my bride back. I want the false king's queen. I want his daughter and his red witch. I want this wildling princess. I want his little prince, the wildling babe, and I want my reek. Now let's unpack that a little bit. First off, we know that Stannis Baratheon has Reek captive. So if this letter was true and Stannis died, as he said, in the battlefield, and he had them, he would already have Reek because Reek is with Stannis. So that's how we know that that is false. Also, we have to go to the Winds of Winter chapter once again to prove that Stannis Baratheon wrote this, because these words are exactly the same. While being held captive by Stannis Baratheon and realizing that Stannis plans on killing him, this is what Theon says to Stannis. Frey and Mandalay will never combine their strength. They will come for you, but separately. Lord Ramsay will not be far behind them. He wants his bride back. He wants his reek. So we can easily see, we can match up the words that Theon said that Ramsay would want to the pink letter. Easily seen that Stannis Baratheon would have his maester, which is the maester from the Dreadfort that he has captured with him. And that is the reason how Stannis would have a pink smear of wax. From the Winds of Winter sample chapter, Theon. Stannis did not reply at once. He studied the man before him, his brow furrowed. Get up! The maester rose. You are a maester at the Dreadfort. How is it that you are here with us? Lord Arnulf brought me to tend to his wounded. Tend his wounded or his ravens? Both, your grace. We can also see that Val is referred to as a wildling princess in this letter. The only person in all the books that calls Val a wildling princess is Stannis Baratheon and his people. The only person in position to write the letter and call her a wildling princess is Stannis Baratheon. Now, in order for you to believe that Mance Rayder wrote this letter under duress of Ramsay Bolton, you would have to believe that for whatever reason, while being tortured, Mance Rayder would call Val a wildling princess. And why would he bring that up to Ramsay? Why would he say, hey, we got this wildling princess named Val living up there? This is his sister in law. And we know it's said countless times that the free folk don't see Val as a wildling princess. Next, why would Ramsay consider her to be a wildling princess? The reason why the North people from the South and Stannis are into her is because she's so beautiful. Ramsay has never even seen her. So why would he call any wildling a princess? He's not going to think a wildling is good looking, not without seeing them, never. So he would never refer to her as a wildling princess, and wildling is basically the N word for all of the people beyond the wall. Why would Mance say this about his own people? It just doesn't make sense. Now, the one argument I constantly hear is that this is not in Stannis Baratheon's character. Even though we know Stannis used a shadow baby to kill his own brother, yet people want to say this is not in his character. So let me refer to you once again to the Theon Winds of Winter sample chapter to bust this theory that this is not his character. This is Stannis Baratheon talking to Justin Massey as he sends him to the war. It may be that we shall lose this battle, the king said grimly. In Bravos, you may hear that I am dead. It may even be true. You shall find my cell swords nonetheless. The knight hesitated. Your grace, if you are dead, you will avenge my death and sit my daughter on the Iron Throne. Now we clearly hear Stannis tell Justin, you may hear that I'm dead. It may even be true. But even so, still continue to do what I asked you to do. And Justin's like, why would I do that if you're dead? And he's like, well, then because you have to avenge my death and sit my daughter on the Iron Throne. That's why you have to keep doing it. Really, you can see that it's a plan by Stannis to fake his own death. And he knows that Justin Massey is going to hear about this, but he wants Justin to still continue because he knows he's not going to be dead. He's still going to need those soldiers. And why does he know Justin's going to hear about this? Because he's sending Justin to the wall with Tycho No Stories with the fake Arya. And by that time, the pink letter will have already arrived, and Justin will then hear that Stannis is dead. And that should be enough proof to prove to you all that that is in Stannis Baratheon's character to do that, to win by any means necessary. Now, this video has taken some time to do, so I'm going to end it right here, but I think I've
that is my claim why I believe that Stannis Baratheon wrote it. I think that it's a pretty solid theory that he wrote it. I don't think that really, if anyone has anything to say why he didn't write it, I will also take any questions on that. And if anyone has anything else, you know what I mean, I will definitely take questions saying if you have anything that you could say or put it out there that he didn't do it. I am here 100% right now to defend this claim because I don't think that anyone has more to gain than Stannis. I have broke it down to you in that video, step by step, reason by reason, why Stannis would be the only one capable of doing this and why it served him the best to do it. I mean, you have to have the motive and you have to have the means. Stannis Baratheon is the only person that has both of those things, the motive and the means. Oh, hey, Anderson, I like your shirt. Tony, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You know, I was very skeptical about this shirt when I was going to buy it. I wasn't going to buy it. I was skeptical, but I said, no, you know, let's give it a shot and stuff like that. So I'm glad that people find it good. People saying, Blood Raven, what do you think about Blood Raven being involved? No, Blood Raven has nothing to do with it. He's involved when you deal with Theon and on Theon going getting sacrificed on the weirwood tree. He's involved in that. He's trying to get that done. Him and Bran are trying to get Theon sacrificed there. But as for the actual writing of the pink letter, no, he has nothing to do with that whatsoever. But he is in the cages watching everything while this goes down. I just think Stannis could have been a fantastic king. The story would have been better. Well, he still has a chance to be king. So we still have a chance to see that Lady Starfall. Don't give up hope yet. Yeah. They'll keep hope alive. Let's keep hope alive. He still has a chance, you know. He still has a chance to do that. But yeah, that's my argument for the pink letter theory. You know what I mean? I 100% go with Stannis. I have tried. I think I've debunked both of those other theories. I think that the things that I said about those theories cannot be explained away. Stannis stuff, it most likely it will is not to be explained away because that's what it is. All right, people, I'm going to bounce up out of here. This was a quick stream for me and everything else, but most likely I'll be back tonight. You know, hanging out. I have to watch. There's a very big boxing match that that I'm watching, and after I watch the boxing match, I'll be back. I'll be back after after when it's over. So I'll be there to do that tonight. So if you're back and you got nothing to do tonight, stop on back. We'll be doing that, and I'll be back again during I'll be back again on Wednesday to do another video. So if you like the way I do this, please thumbs up this, please spread this across the realm, and please subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy.